that from the moment we're born, we're conditioned to die. We're not conditioned to live. You understand? We're conditioned to live safely and to protect ourselves. And this gets so embedded in the human psyche that it's almost impossible to move in any direction. We become so crippled by this. So it's really that fear of death, that so completely, paralyzes people that it keeps them from ever truly having this willingness to be totally alive, And our parents, our teachers, the schools we go to. I went to my daughter's school and her guidance counselor says, you got to take her out of the school. And I said, why? He said, this school is made to create cookie cutter students so they could wind up in banking systems and corporations, and your daughter is too creative for this place. She doesn't belong here. That's what the guidance counselor said to me. I was blown away. Yeah, and my daughter is in probably the second or third best school in all of New York City. And he said to me, all they do is crank out kids that are going to wind up working in Wall Street and cookie cutter kids. Your daughter is too creative for this place. You understand? And that's what happens to our psyche. We become cookie cutter individuals. And we get so conditioned to living in certain ways that we don't know what else to do. And then you got to do meditation to break yourself down, to change yourself, to open, to get looser inside, to get more creative inside, So people get paralyzed, after 2 and 3 years old. Most people's lives are determined for them. And very few people have the guts to truly one day just walk away from it all and say, this is not what I'm going to be alive for. It happened to me when I was younger. I couldn't stand the idea. My family, you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, you're going to do, and go live in Scarsdale and blah, 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 da, da. And I said, not me, man. And I ran away from home when I was 18 years old. I bought a one-way ticket to Europe with $50 in my pocket. I couldn't stand the idea of that was going to be the rest of my life. So I think people have to finally have the guts to make commitments to themselves, to find ways of living in this world that aren't cookie cutter. As I said, SSD, security, safety, and you walk off the cliff, And that happens to the mind. It paralyzes us, and we get where we only see things like this. We don't see the 360 degrees of life. So we're so like this. We're like dogs on a track, And we only see like that. And we can't see that life is 360 degrees and it has infinite amount to offer all of us. If we really do the work inside to open and give ourselves the security to be able to live that way. Now, what I talk about is very challenging. I know that. I'm surprised half of you haven't left the room, What I talk about is very challenging. Because it challenges everything that the society imposes upon us. Ways to live, it challenges everything. But it also is very life-giving. And I don't say you do this like tomorrow, You start working on yourself. You start growing. You start building that system inside that gets you more secure, that enables you to have a vaster panorama, perspective of life. And this takes time. You invest the time, the energy to work to build that kind of system that allows you to not be afraid to take steps into the unknown, that allows you to break down that conditioning that's in the human mind and whole persona of people that keeps them crippled. My favorite all-time B movie is that one, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I think it's one of the best movies ever made, because it really metaphorically describes the condition of the human race. That this kind of etherization overtakes people. And they go to work, they come home. I mean, I cannot, sometimes I go out to Long Island, drive, and there's so much traffic. I say, how do people do this every day? How do they do this every single day of their lives, you know? Without going out of their minds. You know, or riding on the trains or the Long Island Railroad and these cars that is jammed with people and, you know, people every day. They so conditioned. And it's fear that conditions. I got to earn a living, and they go home, and then the television goes on, and they watch television, and you know the kids are screaming, and this and that and the other, and you know. But people get so conditioned to living the way they live that they can literally put up with anything. You know. So, you know, the mind becomes this insulated box, and it becomes a box that has to justify everything we do. And as soon as you find out you're justifying your own life, you're in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. You're in a lot of trouble. When you have to make excuses justifying how you're living, it means you're not living. You understand? If you're living, you don't have to justify anything. You are completely, totally happy in whatever your life is. And that could be even sitting in traffic on the Long Island Expressway. If your heart is open, there's love in you. What? You don't have to justify it to anybody. But find somebody that lives that way. That is the Holy Grail, right there, finding the Holy Grail.